Honourable Chair and members of the committees, I appreciate your commitment to addressing the significant and growing challenge of hatred in our society, in particular the escalating rise in Jew hatred that we're experiencing on campuses. I'm here to speak up on behalf of thousands of students across this country, thousands of Jewish students. My name is Yost Harshish. I'm the Director of Hillel Queen, and I'm here representing Hillels on campuses all over the country. I've spent about 15 years deeply immersed in Jewish student communities in Canada and around the world, and this 10 years afforded me a broad insight into the patterns of anti-Semitism, particularly in a university setting, and it's allowed me to observe its fluctuations, to see when it rises and when it falls. Antisemitism is not a new or novel phenomenon here in Canada. From as early as the 1920s, Canadian Jews faced systematic barriers to entry into Canadian universities. Universities like McGill only rescinded their numerus clausus quota on Jewish students in the 1960s. In 2009, York University Jewish students had to barricade themselves inside their Hillel building to keep themselves away from a violent mob. And in 2022, Dr. Ayelet Cooper's landmark report into the anti-Semitism within the University of Toronto's Temeti School of Medicine uncovered really deep-seated biases that show really how prejudice infiltrates even the most prestigious of academic institutions. Sadly, these are really just the tip of the iceberg, and Jewish students are facing really terrible things every single day. We're observing this anti-Semitism on campus take three main forms. The first is harassment, both verbal and social. The second would be physical and symbolic acts, and the third would be disqualification and exclusion. For the first, harassment, in February, a Jewish student walking on campus at York University had a picture taken of him from behind, and that picture was then uploaded onto TikTok, where thousands of comments mocked his choice of kippah, of his head covering. Thousands of comments. A story I shared yesterday in the press conference we held follows on from the story Nati shared about 5 mezuzahs being removed from residence buildings. In January, at the Residence Society General Assembly, which is the democratically elected student government for 6,000 students in Queen's residence, when a question was asked by a first-year Jewish student, how will you, the candidate running for the...
Mr. Tarshish?
Sorry.
Go a bit slower.
Sorry. When at the Residence Society General Assembly, when candidates were asked by a first-year Jewish student, what are you going to do to fight anti-Semitism in residences, given that, at this point, 4 mezuzahs have been removed? No one gave a good answer, but the most disturbing thing was that an audible ripple of laughter went through the room the moment the question was asked. Anti-Semitic rhetoric is not limited to students. We've already heard terrible things coming out of professors and professors within their classrooms and outside. I think the one that really shocked me was when a Concordia professor, I think he showed up at McGill and screamed at Jewish students, "Go back to Poland, sharmuta," which is an Arabic derogatory curse word. In terms of physical aggression, we've heard lots of examples of that tonight. At Western University, a student who had hosted a Jewish event came that night, had rocks thrown through her window of her student house, her private student home. Physical assaults and threats have become alarmingly common. I've seen several videos in the last weeks from university campuses that disturbed me greatly. And the final bit is disqualification. And this, to me, is really the most pernicious form of anti-Semitism that we're seeing on campuses. And it's the core demands of this encampment movement right now. To remove all representations of Zionism from campus has become, the mask has slipped. We have gone from, we need a ceasefire, to Hillel must be removed from campus because Hillel is a Zionist cultural institution, also, say, Coupe 3903, the Union of TAs at York University, who provided TAs at York with a toolkit on how they could bring Palestine into the classroom, which included, as a recommendation, Hillel should not be allowed on campus. I remind you that we have been an organization serving Canadian Jewish students for more than 80 years. I'm proud to live in Canada, and it pains me to witness this trend in a country that is known for its inclusivity and diversity. While anti-Semitism is indeed an ancient hatred, its current resurgence on Canadian campuses is not merely a recurrence but an intensification, threatening the safety and well-being of Jewish students and, by extension, the integrity of our educational institutions. If we stand by while history's shadows lengthen into our halls of learning, we fail not only those directly affected, but also the very ideals of diversity, inclusion, and justice we aspire to uphold. The urgency to act is now. The cost of inaction is the well-being of our future generations here in this country. Let us not be the ones who look back and wish that we had done more when we had the chance. Let's ensure that all students, regardless of background or belief, can pursue their education in an environment free from intimidation and hate and fear. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now open the floor for questions, and the way it works is we will start with 6-minute rounds for each of the 4 political parties, and I will begin with Mr. Morans, please, for 6 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair.